Hi there, this is the Economic Liberty YouTube channel. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it's informative for you and gives you some inspiration to look further into these things that are happening all around the world. Greece is in even more trouble at the moment. There's firebombing taking place in the central areas of Athens with government buildings being bombed. There's a lot of grief that has been felt around the country at a retired pharmacist having killed himself in the central square in Athens and right outside government buildings. So there's been a lot of firebombing going on. There's been attacks on government buildings taking place, and the Greeks are really feeling it. They're really beginning to step it up. Port workers have gone on strike over there, and now the government are threatening to force them back to work. They're not saying how they do that, but they're talking about doing that at gunpoint and forcing them back to work. So the entire global situation is continuing to deteriorate. Today we've seen bond yields spiking in Spain, hitting 6% again. All those trillions of dollars of bond printing still hasn't done the job. Basically, the idea behind the recent bouts of printing in Europe has been so that banks will start buying government debt and keep these yields down. Well, it's not doing the job, even though there's been trillions of dollars of practically interest-free money given to these corporations in order to buy bonds, exacerbating the debt. We're seeing costs of everything beginning to spiral quite strongly all around the world now as the money printing really starts to kick in. And I'm going to try some funny effects to keep things interesting here, so this will be interesting. Hopefully it's not too distracting, and if it is, just close your eyes and pretend that you're just listening to the radio or something. Anyway, without further ado, let's have a look at some of the other issues that are really poignant at the moment. The boundaries between nations are starting to be eroded in a really strong sense by the changes in work laws. Over in Greece, for example, the transport industry and the boating industry are two huge industries in Greece. That basically part of the bankster pact was that they had to allow any foreign workers to come and work in their country. Now, here's a country that's getting absolutely buried by the acts of these banksters, and this country is being told that anyone from around the world can come and work in their country because they said so, and in fact we're going to not give you the more debt if you don't allow that to happen, which would mean that you would wake up and not be able to get money out of the wall. No government wants that, so therefore they don't allow that to happen. So it's getting really fiery. It's really crazy stuff going on over there. And now here in Australia, in the southern hemisphere, we're now seeing it happening this week. They're bringing in laws that's been all around the news to allow foreign workers to come in and work the mines. And basically the idea behind that is that, as it is with all these changes, it's in order to make labour cheaper for the corporations. More money for the guys that are making the rules, that are running our governments. And they make, if they can pay a miner 30, 40, 50 grand a year instead of the 100 to 150, 200 they're having to pay him now, then that's a great distortion of the market economy for them. They want to see their profits escalate, and they don't care about national sovereignty. They are more than happy to trade our liberty for their security and for their benefit. No problem at all for them. So these forced actions are escalating, and things are starting to get pretty out of control. And if we're not careful, we're going to get washed out. So as these share markets are beginning to crash, you're beginning to see that all these trillions of dollars of money printing given to the banks so they can buy stocks, so they can buy national bonds, it is still not shutting down this collapse scenario that we're beginning to see escalating. It is a collapse scenario and it is escalating. Now, I've heard people say, fearmonger, you're just sort of going a bit over to the top with this stuff. But it's happening, and we're watching it happen progressively. People can say, oh, it's not really happening because I can still drive my car and go down the road. But you can only go half as far, and you can only get half as much as at the shop. And that's where we're heading pretty quickly, and where we have already headed. We're now seeing petrol prices about to hit the highest that they have for 3.5 years, which was the highest they'd ever been in history. The Yanks just sent a second aircraft carrier into the Persian Gulf. Even just that action in itself is enough to see your costs spike at the Bowser and see those who are selling oil, or who have speculations in oil, pretty happy. So even just the slightest political act, like sending an aircraft carrier somewhere, is enough to send a postcard to the markets that says, hey guys, we're having a great time over here, but we need you to fund another 4 billion pina coladas because we're getting thirsty. And so that's basically what they do. They're two-faced, greedy monkeys. They're corporate ruling families. They're CEOs. They're the guys that are taking over the world, that pretty much already control the government decisions that are made in most places of the world, most of the time. And now we're seeing the repercussions of that, which has been brewing for decades and even centuries. Now the Chinese real estate bubble is showing signs that it will really pop, and that has been one of the major concerns for the basically global economy off a cliff scenario. Now it might just be a really slippery slope, but we're already starting to see these real estate prices cool right off, and that means that we are going to see China really drop back. Regardless of that, without wanting to get too economical on this video, I would like to just say, most important thing we can do is stand up and talk about this stuff. We need to make a stand. This needs to stop. I know that we're all just, one person, but together there can be a voice that's loud enough so that we can wash out the guys that are trying to wash us out. And thank you for watching this video. Drop me a message, subscribe. Keen to hear your feedback. Really, really watching this escalate and looking forward to joining and making changes in so many different ways, whether that be through prepping, or whether that be through getting gold and silver, whether that be through moving into another sector where you know that your employment situation is going to be a lot more robust. And really we need to do all of those things. Knowledge, I think, is the most important thing we can have. Through our Western society, we have lost the ability to live off the land our understandings are so diminished that I think that's probably the most important skill that we can develop as individuals, is to learn how to live off the land again. Learn how to survive in the wild, learn how to protect ourselves and our families effectively. These are skills which are going to become incredibly important. And in my opinion, I'd rather be living off the land than a situation where you're earning just enough to feed yourself. And that is where we are going in a big hurry. So that to me is the most viable thing. One single fruit tree can provide amazing amount of food, fresh, and that is something else I'm not going to get into in this video, but fluoridation, pesticides, the increase in toxin levels is reason enough alone to want to step out and start learning how to live off the land again, and there's plenty of it out there. Make no mistake about it. Thanks again for watching. Have a great journey, and we'll see you next time.